So it's a beautiful snowy day here, about mid-December. You can see the creek is running pretty well. I've managed to keep my whole system running for the whole fall so far. So this is the latest into the season I've had it going, partially because the creek is doing really well. We had a wet summer and a wet fall, so I think the ground supply of water has been really good. I thought to just give you guys a little update as to how it's doing as the winter begins. And so again, this is the dam. Right now my pipe is empty. I was just doing some work fixing the pressure reducing valve. So this is the dam. I had to dig a whole bunch of accumulated settlement out of the dam. I have that intake partially blocked just so that no water goes into the penstock, which is open right now, just so air can get in so I could drain the pipe. But yeah, the creek's still going really well. Dam's holding up. Lots of flow, lots of overflow. But yeah, gonna turn the water back on and yeah, show you guys the whole system. Okay, so I got the intake screen back on. So that's going down the pipe, filling the blue barrel. And I have the penstock open, so the water right now is filling up the penstock. Oh no, my clean out's open. Okay, let me go shut the clean out. Okay, so I got the clean out on, the cap on the clean out. So the blue barrel is overflowing now. And I think that penstock is taking as much as it can. Overflow is coming out the blue barrel. But right now that whole creek is going in. But yeah, you can see a little whirlpool here. So that whole creek is getting sucked in to this 4-inch pipe into the blue barrel, and then either in the penstock or overflowing to continue the creek. So one of the issues I've actually been having with this intake, so as this thing clogs up, which happens once a week I'd say, the level of the water goes up and pours over the top. So this whole thing turns into like this nice calm pool as it flows over the top. Then when I clean it, because the whole creek is going through here, it like sucks the water really hard. And so the water level drops to here, and you can see that the creek kind of like flows into here now. So when it's a pool, you don't have that kind of flow into here. But as soon as the water level drops, you get that kind of flow of the creek, and that brings a whole bunch of sediment and rocks kind of in here towards this little intake. So I actually have to, when I clean out the intake, I have to close the penstock to prevent water from going down, because it's a little bit muddy for like 15 minutes or so once that creek starts to stir things up. Maybe not 15, maybe like 5, but yeah, so I just kind of have to wait now until that creek kind of like cleans things out, the water clears up. So right now it's just going out the blue barrel, and then once the water clears up, I'll open the penstock. But that is something that I kind of have to think about this summer, is how to prevent that change in the flow rate in the dam. So either having water consistently pour over, or yeah, I'm not sure how to do that, but it would only save me 10 minutes of waiting for the water to clear up. But it is kind of a bummer. Every time you clean the intake, the water gets a little murky. You can see lots of that little stuff floating around. I think that's what got into my pressure reducing valve and gummed it up. But anyway, just something, always learning, I guess. Another learning point. Okay, so it's been a few minutes. You can still see a few floaties in the water, but overall fairly clean. So I did open the penstock. It's currently guzzling water, filling up. So we'll head down to the powerhouse and check it out. Listening to the water come down that pipe is always so satisfying. I think maybe the satisfaction of listening to the water come through the pipe is seconded only to watching this needle climb. I think I've spent a good portion of my life watching this needle get to 140. Oh, but it's awesome. Look at it go. So anyway, while we wait for the pipe to fill up, so I just added this ball valve. So I was having issues with my pressure reducing valve. Basically in the winter, when I leave, I shut this whole thing down, turn the bypass on, so the water continually runs through the 3-inch pipe, through here, down the bypass, and back to the creek. And that way there's always water flowing in the 3-inch pipe so it doesn't freeze. But there's a little screen in this pressure reducing valve that gets clogged up if any debris gets in the pipe. And in order to do any maintenance, I used to have to drain the entire pipe so that I could take it off. But now, thankfully, I can just turn this off, take this out, clean it, put it back on, and then open it again. So that's going to be really, really useful. But, well, if it works. We'll see if it works. Nice. Okay. So you saw that pressure go straight up to about 50. I haven't had water for a few days, so I'm sure there's toilets filling up and stuff like that with water. But if I run the bypass, the goal is for the pressure to kind of stay high. It used to, yeah. So now we have a continuous pressure. Oh, that's awesome. It was falling to almost 0 once the thing was on, but honestly, this was so gummed up with debris that, yeah, I think it just wasn't functioning properly. And when I took this off, for anybody who watched my full install, when I was getting those plastic pieces stuck in the nozzles for the first month or 2 months that I was running this thing, I had a whole bunch of those plastic pieces all gummed up right in here, and I had never taken this off. So that was cool to take that off, clean all those out. I think that'll just add to the efficiency of the whole this side of how everything works and on. But yeah, that was awesome. So looks like the pressure reducing valve is working. Maybe I'm gonna turn, and for anybody who doesn't know, this is what sends water to my house. I basically reduce the pressure from 140 to 50 or 60, and then I send that. Gives my house pressurized water. We are back up to full pressure. So we're gonna crank this hydro and yeah, head to the powerhouse and see how much power we're making. Woo! Boy, that is smooth. All right, she's wide open. Let's go see. All right, so we got everything back up and running. Oh, one of the nozzles is clogged. I can tell because 450 watts means the nozzle's clogged. So I think there was a little bit of debris that got in there. So we'll head back, clean the nozzle out, see if we can get this puppy back up to 850 or so. All right, well, not that one. That one looks pretty good. Is it this one? Haha. Sure is. Clean that out, fire her back up. All right, let's see if that did anything. Nice. Awesome. So you can see that we're now at 120 volts coming in with about 820 watts. And because the pipe was draining for a few hours, I had everything shut down, so I was just running off my batteries. So it depleted my batteries. And when it's at, so this is the diversion load controller, so when it's at 120, that means it should be charging the battery, so those lights should be blinking. Excellent. Kind of hard to see, but they are. And then once the batteries are full, the voltage will start to climb. When it hits 127, the diversion load will send that 820 watts to the 2 baseboard heaters I have inside, which have been doing a lovely job of keeping my cabin comfortable. I have been having a few fires just because they're nice, But those, just with 800 watts of power going to my baseboard heaters, with my batteries full and running everything, it's probably able to keep my cabin about between 10 and 15 degrees, which has been really, really nice. And this cupboard has stayed nice and warm too. You're not supposed to charge these batteries below freezing, so I have a thermometer in here just to keep track of the temperature in here, but that inverter is pretty warm. So yeah, mid-December, everything's running and working, which is the first time that I've had it running this late. So yeah, pretty happy with that, and hopefully it continues all winter, but I'll keep you posted.